And did you get a notification that it's recording?
I did.
Okay, perfect. All right, good morning and welcome to another Friday morning safety meeting. Today is the 17th of January, so we're only a little ways through January, but we're starting to chip through the winter. So this week's code item of the week is be prompt, start on time, and that's for work, appointments, projects, etc. Mr. Dow, what do you have to add?
Do it on whatever you do it on purpose. So plan ahead, be on time, and communicate when things are if something's up and you're not gonna make it on time. So as Phil would say, aviate, navigate, and communicate. You got to do that when you're on the ground too, right, Phil?
You got that one. You got that one down. You must have been reading your lessons.
So Tom, are you going to do the quick safety brief first, and then we'll have
Yeah,
Phil?
and it's a fairly quick one today. So
Okay, thank you.
Safety news. We have 106 days without a recordable injury. It's the first time in a long time that we've gotten into the triple digits, so that's excellent. We have 24 days without a first aid injury and 29 days without a serious vehicle incident. We've had a couple little minor dings and stuff, but most of it's been road debris from other people. So, but the one thing to bring up is that the points system that the US DOT uses against our number, we're starting to creep up on that. So just make sure that we're keeping speed well under control. Today we're just going to talk about fire protection. So the best thing you can do is prevent a fire in the first place, but once you have a fire going, you have three aspects and you need to take one of them away to put the fire out. So you can either take the oxygen away, you can take the heat away, or you can take the fuel away. Fire extinguishers are going to do either take the heat away or the oxygen away. Once you do that, then you're breaking that chemical chain reaction and the fire is going to go out. So you have different types of fire. You have a Class A fire, and which is just your ordinary combustibles, so your wood, paper, cardboard, stuff like that. You can use an ABC dry chem, which is what we use for pretty much everything. You can use the water or you can use foam. You also have Class B fires, which are flammable liquids. So that's gonna be your diesel fuel, stuff like that. ABC dry chem extinguishers or carbon dioxide extinguishers are all that you're gonna see to use for that in our capacity. This screen is tiny. Class C fires are electrical fires. Once again, ABC. If you get why they say ABC dry chem on them, it's because they cover AB or Class C fires. So those are for electrical equipment, wiring, stuff like that. Class D fires are flammable metals. So dry chems sort of work on most metal fires, but not all. So they use a dry powder instead. So that's why they don't say D on them, but don't put water on a Class D fire. And then you have Class K fires, which are really just Class B fires, but they happen in a kitchen. So you can definitely use an ABC extinguisher. You just won't be able to eat out of the utensils that get covered in the dry chem. When it comes to using a fire extinguisher, or when it comes to having fire extinguishers, you just want to make sure they get tagged by a professional every year. They do that after an inspection. So you can see the different types of fire extinguishers here. Over on the left, you have some Class K extinguishers. Some of the Class A extinguishers also look the same, the APWs, but this one's a little less shiny over here. It's kind of towards the right side. But the Class K extinguishers, like I said, those are for kitchen fires. Then to the right of that, you have some wet chem extinguishers. And down below, you have your typical dry chems. That's what we're going to have 99.9% of the time because they cover Class A, B, C, sometimes D fires. When it comes to Class D fires, which are your flammable metals, they're very pesky, especially if a car or something catches on fire. They have a lot of magnesium in them. And even with a dry chem, a 20-pound dry chem, you can keep just spraying it, spraying it, spraying it. You might get it out, but it's just going to be pesky. the right of that, you have that metal looking one. That's an ABC extinguisher, or sorry, not an ABC extinguisher, an APW extinguisher. So that's for Class A fires that just holds water, and then you fill it up with an air compressor. If we have a job where we're burning a lot of grass and stuff like that, first we should try to get rid of the grass. If we can't do that, then it might not be a bad idea to get one of those because you can refill them yourself with 2.5 gallons of water and an air compressor. Then to the right, we have CO2 extinguishers. Those work pretty well on Class B and C fires, but the problem with those is that they don't have a gauge on them, so you can't tell if they're fully charged or not. So to use fire extinguisher, they use the pass method, which is pull the pin, aim at the base of the fire, squeeze, and sweep from side to side. I think one misconception that people do have is that they want to just aggressively spray into the center of the fire, and that doesn't really accomplish everything that you want to do. So when you're using an ABC dry chem extinguisher, you're trying to suffocate the fire out. So you want to kind of cover it with a film, and that film is going to be what lets the fire out. Especially when it comes to Class B fires, which are your flammable liquids. If you just aggressively spray a fire extinguisher into it, you're going to splatter the liquid everywhere, and that liquid's going to make the fire spread. So you want to just kind of gently lay a thin coating over the top of it. Sometimes you don't want to be quite as direct with those. So what kind of extinguishers do you need and where? If you're transferring large quantities of fuel, you need a 20-pound fire extinguisher. When you're performing hot work, you need a 10-pound extinguisher. While operating a commercial vehicle, a 2.5-pound ABC is required to be inside the vehicle. Inside occupied structures, extinguishers are based off of NFPA 1 and 101 standards, and all projects should have at least 5 pounds worth of extinguishers. I don't know if anybody's ever tried to put out a fire with a 2.5 or even a 5-pound extinguisher, but you don't really get very far.
Doesn't last long, does it?
Not at all. One thing that we used to do is we used to put a 2.5-pound extinguisher in every single piece of equipment. 2.5-pounders don't really do much. The cost really adds up. So what we've been striving for is to have 5-pounders, 10-pounders, or 20-pounders, depending on the use, just mounted on the job site or in the job trailers. It's a lot more effective and saves a lot of money. So things to watch out for if you do decide to fight the fire. Burns, obviously, carbon monoxide poisoning, cyanide poisoning. So if you start to smell almonds while you're fighting a fire, go away. And asphyxiation, so you don't get enough oxygen, and then cancer long-term, especially when you're talking diesel fuels and plastics and everything. It's petroleum-based. You might see these as well on some job sites. First, they're basically a explosive thing of dry chem, and it's a ball that you toss into a fire, and then it blows up, and fire supposedly goes out. They don't work very well. You have the water gel blankets. You'll see those at the substations a lot of times. You just drape them over somebody that's on fire. And then they have fire blankets that you can just place over objects. And I'm going to stop sharing.
Some of our electrical jobs, I don't know if they still have us wear FR clothing or not, but for a long time we had to wear fire retardant clothing, Tom, when we worked in the electrical substations.
Yeah, so Velcro hasn't been requiring that for us lately, which I found kind of odd, but I also wasn't going to push them on the matter, so.
No. Okay. All right. Is my screen being shared? I think so.
Yep, we can see it.
Okay, so today we have special guest. And I know we've got Phil Murdoch here from the National Guard Charitable Foundation. As you all know, part of our giving this year, 1/4 of our employee giving went to them in the amount of $7,780.75. So Phil's here to tell us a little bit about the foundation and a little bit and show appreciation because he loves to do that.
Yeah. And I do love to talk about it and kind of talk about the guard a little bit. So cut me off whenever if I get on going on too long. I don't know if Brent Ziegler is on board.
I don't see him
Doesn't
on
sound
board.
like it. So Brent is the president of our foundation. He's a current member of the guard. I'm retired. So sometimes I'll bring him on just to kind of give you a state of the guard, but I have a pretty good idea what's going on out there. So I'll give you an update on what the guard's doing and kind of where we are in the foundation. Um, but first of all, we appreciate the donation so much because this is exactly how we raise funds. We do not actively fundraise. I mean, we have the capability to do that if needed, but it basically, most of our fundraising is organic. It comes from organizations such as yourself that are aware of what's going on in the community, aware of what's going on with the military members, and through the media, through relatives, through friends, through neighbors, they figure out what's going on. They see the need out there, and they include us in their giving. And whether it's bake sales or you name it. We have a young man that donates to us every year who you're going to be reading about him someday. He's been racing go-karts since he was probably 5 years old, and now he's actually, I think, racing up at Thunder Road
Oh,
and doing
cool.
stuff like that. And he takes part of his winnings and donates that to us every year. So it happens organically, and we appreciate that the what you guys do. That's what keeps us going. So the Guard, first I'll talk a little bit about that. Both the Air and Army Guard continuously have members deployed. Right now, as you may have seen in the media recently, the Air Guard has the aviation package is deployed over to, and I'm confident I can say this now because it was out in the media, but it's out to in PACAF or Japan in
Oh,
the Pacific. And so if you're aware of what's going on out in with China and all of the in the Pacific, it's quite an active area, and so our F-35s are over in Japan as a presence. They're there for I think about 3 months,
wow.
and so they sent a 12 ship over with about 306 people. And so that's the main deployment that's going on right now. I know the on the Air Guard side also there's a I think they call it an FRP, which I'm not even sure what that stands for, but what it is it's the onesie twosies. We can have the ability to deploy in large packages or individuals depending on what specialties needed out there, and that covers anywhere from throughout Europe, Africa, the Middle East, and so we have I think about another 60 people that are deployed as onesie twosies in that area. And those vary from, a couple of months up to 6 months typically, and sometimes up to a year on those type of deployments. And then the Army Guard, right now they're in a preparation mode, and so they tend to deploy in larger, large packages, 1,000 or more, and they are in preparation for something down the road. I think it's not within. I don't think it's going to be this year, but it's coming up. So they're in a regular rotation. So other than so we have the constant deployments going on, and which creates obviously a certain amount of stress on the family unit and the military member. Um, but and within there are civilian employers also. So there's that dynamic. So it's a constant balancing act that's going on, and it's a never-ending series of jobs to be done out there. The Guard continues to be, and the reserves continue to be leaned on more and more as we look for the DoD looks for more efficiencies in how to get all the jobs done that need to get done within a certain budget. And the guard is part of the budget saving process out there because we do it for a lot less than the active component. So that's what's happening. And as part of that, occasionally as far as the foundation goes, we went through a period with COVID and the aftermath of COVID that we had a few cases, but we didn't have a lot. It really dropped off during COVID, and we believe the reason is because there was so much other aid, so much other federal money that was thrown in that there was a lot of support for families, and we had a real decrease in cases. Well, a lot of that COVID money is dried up, as you know, and gone. And so, as you would expect, we did see some of our cases have started to tick back up, especially with the flooding that's happened over the last 2 years in 23 and 24. And I know you guys have been quite active in flood recovery and mitigation and ongoing projects. Well, we had several members that lost their homes and businesses, and so we ended up having a lot more cases showing up, and so we've that's been ongoing, and then there's the category of you just can't make this stuff up. Whether it's there's a lot of need still, and so we're bringing in about the same amount of money as we're sending out. We do have money that in the foundation that we've put into we connected with the Vermont Community Foundation, which is an organization that works with nonprofits to help them better care for the money that they collect, and we actually make some interest in some instead of just sitting it into a low interest bearing account in a bank. We have some money in the community foundation, Vermont Community Foundation, and they help us increase the bottom line, which has been nice. So we're active. We meet. Our board is full, and we have a combination of there's a current military members, and we have a bunch of retired members, and we have some civilians, so that we can get an idea of everybody comes with a different perspective. So
Good
it's
man.
still an active working foundation, and we appreciate your support. So if there's any questions out there, I'm more than willing to answer, but I don't want to go on too long.
Thanks, Phil.
You're
We
welcome.
missed the boys because they fly right over our office whenever we're at meetings. We just naturally just stop and watch them go by. But
Yeah,
we
well, there'll be there's going to be they will be flying a local
Yep,
schedule, but it's going to be dialed back because
dialed back.
obviously
Yep.
most of the airplanes are over in Japan.
We saw the huge transport plane over on your ramp last week. I think it was last
Yeah.
week. Big,
Well,
huge.
I was talking to the guys, and it was quite a project getting them over to Japan. It was about a 6-day event.
Jeez.
We can get over there quicker than that, but and they had to island hop and air refuel, of course, but over a 6-day period, it's
Yeah.
quite a slog.
Wow.
But they got over there, and they're doing their job. So
Awesome. Well, Phil, thank thank you and the foundation for what you do. Um, we really appreciate being able to get together and help you all, and we enjoy having you every year. And
well, we appreciate it, and congratulations for your transition to an ESOP. That was I was glad to hear that. That's quite exciting.
yeah, it is cool. Well, thank you, Phil. Any other questions for Phil or comments? Tom, you got anything?
Thanks for joining us, Phil, for sure. We've actually been working with Hank Carter and Natalie on some projects at their home, and I just looked at your website. I see Hank right there on the front page being greeted. So he's been a nice relationship as well.
Yeah, I've known and flown with Hank for over 30 years, and He's doing a great job, and he's now the deputy adjutant general,
Yep.
and and he's also the air component commander. So there's a he wears two hats in that organization, and he's going to be there. I'm quite confident he'll be in the senior leadership of the Guard for several more years.
Yeah.
Awesome.
He's a pleasure to work with for sure. So,
Yeah,
Awesome.
he's got a great sense of humor.
yes, he does. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Thank you guys. I'm gonna move through. Phil, you're welcome to sit through the rest of um our quick meeting here today. We got another 10 minutes or so, and you're welcome to join us and listen
Yeah,
in.
I'll stay on. It's always the best part.
Cool. All right. So for announcements today, start out by congratulating Carter Wright on being promoted to foreman. Congratulations to Carter. Actually, probably a lot of us are thinking, well, wait a minute, that's what he does anyway. So he's clearly one that's done the job before. He's got the recognition the recognition of being a foreman. So congratulations to Carter. I don't know if you're on, Carter, but congratulations. Give him a pat on the back today. And Tom, you can load him up with work because it's official now.
Consider it done.
W-2s. So your W-2s went out in the mail. I think it was 2 days ago. You should be seeing them. If you don't, give Melanie a call. If you don't see them by the end of next week, they can print them out. If something happened and they didn't quite make it or something, if you have any questions, give Melanie a call. I got her number and her email here. I wanted to remind everyone that we do still have the winter floating holiday available to everyone from now on until March 15th. So I left that up this week just so in case anyone didn't understand the winter holiday, you can check out this email and it explains how it works. The other thing that we've been doing, we've had our first ESOP informational meeting for any and all employees. If you want to come twice, that's fine. We have a PowerPoint. Doug Goldsmith's created a nice little PowerPoint program, and we go through the basics of what it is to be an ESOP. And we have discussions and answer questions. And I think it's going to be a work in progress because we tend to keep adjusting our program as we get new questions. Our employees have the best questions. So we do that Wednesdays from 2 to 3. Then we have a meeting coming up next Wednesday. The following Wednesday, I think it's the only day we're not going to be doing it because of some scheduling conflicts. But if you want to be included in the meeting, I've got Erin Markle's information here. Erin's setting up the appointments, so you've got her phone number and email. I think we already have several people, but we have room in next week's meeting. It's generally an hour. I think we took an hour and 15 this week because we have the flexibility if there's some good questions to chase some things down. So anyone that wants to do that, I figured this is a good time of year to do it. I did leave up our giving results for one more week since we're featuring some people on the program to give thanks for our recipients. And I did have a call this week on someone that was looking to contact our employee assistance program. We still have that active. And the phone number and a link to their brochure is right here on our weekly email. The other thing I wanted to say before I go to the project of the week, we do have social media is Instagram and Facebook is pretty active. I'll try to get the picture up for next week, but I think we have the winner, Cody. If you're on, I think Cody won the ornament contest that they were having on. I think it was on Facebook for his ornaments.
So I need to clarify something.
Yeah.
My wife assisted me with it.
He had his wife do his homework. Okay.
I was there. She only did 90% of it.
I want a
Yeah,
full
exactly.
investigation into this right now.
It was awesome. Got my vote.
All right. Well, I wanted to make sure I said something. I didn't read all my emails. I had a note on there to mention that this week, so I didn't get the picture up. So I'll put it up next week. So the project of the week is going to be presented by Tom Lawyer. It's the Harbor Roads sewer repair. And,
Yep.
you know, these repairs are the ones that are the most important to people when it doesn't work. We've got bridges and fancy, awesome things that we always show. And this is sometimes the most appreciated project that we do to get somebody's toilet working again.
That
So-
and water, a lot of fear in their eyes when they don't have water or facilities for sure. So,
So-
this is a quick little
Yep.
job, and I'll zing through it, but I'll let you do the scrolling, Ben.
Okay.
So
Can you see my screen?
I can. Yep.
Okay.
Okay, I'll begin. ECI was hired by Harbor Road LLC to replace a failing sewer line at 33 Harbor Road in the heart of the village of Shelburne. If you go into the village of Shelburne, where the four-way is by the mobile, take a right heading toward the school. It was right there. This line serviced the professional office buildings, a couple of them actually for a law firm and a capital investment firm. And they've actually been having issues for the last 2 years plus. They did a video inspection of the line, and it had just a massive amount of offset joints and root infiltration. And actually, over the past summer, every 4 to 6 weeks, they had someone there, P&P or BP or whomever, jetting the line out just to keep it going. So that's the fear you're talking about, Ben Dow, of total failure. As winter got close, they were stressing pretty good. Straightforward project, but we had to do a lot of exploratory work. Civil engineering put together a set of plans, but there was a lot of guesswork in what might be where. So we did a lot of work up front to confirm the location points for tie-ins and elevations to assess the ability to bore under the road and with an acceptable slope, because it was a gravity line. So that work went pretty good. The town was cooperative, both the sewer and the highway department. So that kept us moving forward. After the exploratory work was complete, the new gravity line was installed parallel to the old line by open excavation and directional drilling. And if those slopes wouldn't have worked or would have been too tight for directional drilling, this would have been a nighttime job. The traffic there it's unbelievable. My kids went to school there when they were young, and it just backs up. It's crazy. We were able to keep the old line functioning until the switch over to the new line. And using that approach, the building was really down for about 90 minutes, which was great. And it was well coordinated. And Mike Levick and Carter and our whole team really worked well with the owner of the building and the tenant. So that was good. A lot of challenges on this small project, the heavy traffic. There's a couple local businesses nearby, Celine and Celine, an architectural firm, a ladies' clothing store, the mobile station, coffee shop, that kind of stuff. Of course, the winter conditions and all the unknowns that I just referred to that we found during the exploratory phase. But ultimately, we tied into the town's 12-inch gravity clay trunk line on the north side of Harbor Road, backfilled it, and completed it with hot mix set in place by the ECI paving team. So thanks to Daryl and everybody there. They made a trip to Massachusetts. We coordinated with other work they had to do. So it really made things possible to do, because that had to happen. And ultimately, we capped the old service up and just left it in place. So this drawing here, the center building is our client, and number 45 to the left, this is some of the unknowns. It was thought that building was tied in to the lateral that connected to the main as a shared service. So that was phase one of our work, to try to find out what was what. And you see all the trees shown here that caused all the issues. Then there's some better photos later on. So you can scroll down, Ben.
Yep.
Get to the pictures that tell it all. So this is actually 45. This is not our client. This is the property next door that was thought to head to the east, and ultimately Carter got in there with some locating equipment, and the service actually came out on the west side, so it was never part of the consideration, although it was highly thought to be. So their service came up the other side of the building. You can continue down.
So what'd you guys do? Put a snake inside the pipe to locate it? Or traceable?
I'm assuming, his access point was from the basement. I assume there was a clean out accessible or some sort of a Y assembly. So they accessed it from inside of the building with our traceable snake and came out. And obviously this
Look at
lateral
where it
here,
goes.
yeah, it's probably got its own problems. So we were not hired to repair that. So maybe we will in the future. And this is the Selene building, this dark brown building. This is the same trunk line you saw. So right now we believe these two buildings are tied to one lateral and crossing the street to that same trunk line.
Right through the tree.
Yep. This is the connection here at the connection and the initial run that ties into our directional bore. So this was our client, and this conversion fitting you see here, we've got our HDPE pipe and then a conversion back to PVC. And
This job's cool because it's a combination of digging. Well, looks like a lot of root cutting.
Yeah, that you'll see more of these next pictures.
But a transition between PVC and HDPE.
Yep.
And open trench and directional boring, right?
Yep. Yeah. Yep. Exactly. This is a closer up version of it. We just did a Fernco at the foundation.
Wow.
Make that connection. 45s to get us to the
look at the roots.
Drill. Yeah. I think that's Corey there cleaning up roots probably. So these guys did a great job. Our customers, we get a lot of comments, and this is one of those customers that appreciates our approach to business every day. So thanks to the crew that was out there for sure. So
yeah.
Should be something to be proud of.
Oh, and wow. There's the bore. So that's right.
This picture here with a shovel. This is the 12-inch trunk line. There's our bore, the transition to PVC, a 45, and then a 45 with a saddle into the trunk line.
Is that a new location for the service, Tom? Right there?
Yeah, if you buried to the right, on the right-hand side of this picture was the old connection.
Yep.
Which was left in place.
Yep. Wow.
Yeah, and I think the next picture is a little closer up of that same connection.
Yep. Is that a clay line?
Yep.
That you're tied into? Wow.
Yes, 12-inch. And that's, again, one of those unknowns. We were told it was 8-inch. The city plans showed it as 8-inch. Now they know it's 12-inch. So.
And again, a transition between high-density HDPE and PVC.
Correct, yeah. And then the final asphalt work that made it all look good and made it all possible. And this little white building here is a ladies' clothing store. So we kind of messed up their driveway. We were able to keep cars flowing in and out. That's owned by the Spillane family. They own that whole corner. So we had friendly relations there to make it all happen without too much of an issue. So
we had to get hot mix.
That's the project.
Hot mix from hundreds of miles away.
Yeah, Daryl and Jimmy had 2 other spots in the town of Shelburne they were getting the mix for. So this was in Shelburne, and at the same time the Shelburne Water Department had a break, and they had 2 spots. So we ended up hitting 5 locations with asphalt that day, and Brian Coda helped out Daryl and his team and got it all done.
Cool. Well, thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
I found an old photo in the archives that up at, it's another sewer service, but this was back when we were starting to play with HDPE and different things like that. There's Larry Sullivan putting together a similar size line in 2003.
Yep. HDP is here to stay for sure, no doubt about it.
Yep. So I'll turn it back to Tom Pigeon to end up our meeting.
Thank you, everybody.
We're good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just getting daylight out there.
Yep.
If you watch in group setting, if you don't mind sending me over your attendance, that would be great. If not, you'll be getting a text from me. Have a great day. Have a safe day, and enjoy your weekend.
Okay. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
Thanks, Phil.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having us on.